Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, the chief content producer and writer of jakestake.com, a pop culture entertainment news website. Before we get started today, I just want to say, give us a thumbs up, and please subscribe. And also, if you're listening to this on our audio platforms, please give us a 5-star rating and download this episode. I am thrilled to welcome back one of my all-time favorite guests. He is the reality TV Survivor GOAT. He won Survivor Africa, Survivor All-Stars, and Survivor Winners at War, and he's a reality TV icon. He's also the grassroots co-founder and also the CrunchBowl inventor, and more importantly, he's the Jewish wilderness icon. So please let me welcome one of my heroes back to the podcast, the legendary Ethan Zohn.
Wow. I mean, I can hear the applause right now. So thank you for that incredible introduction. You're too kind with your introduction, but it's really great to be back. I think it's been, 4 or 5 years since we've chatted.
5 years, Ethan. It's been 5 years, and I'm going to say this. You are one of my alts. As Survivor enters its quarter of a century, I can't believe it's been a quarter of a century. But you always remain, if I'm like, okay, if I want to see an all-star represent Survivor in this huge reality world universe brawl, and we'll talk about that later, I want Ethan to be one of the representatives from Survivor.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Call up Jeff Probst. Let me know what he says.
All righty. Maybe Alan Cumming. Or maybe Joe Manganiello. We'll get back to that in a future.
All right.
We'll get back to that. But first, it has been 5 years since we spoke. How have you grown as an entrepreneur and motivational speaker since we last spoke?
5 years seems like a short amount of time, but it's felt like a really long amount of time. Obviously, what's gone on in the world since, I guess it was season 40, right? Winners at War, which was aired in 2020, like right as the pandemic was happening. So if you get in a little time machine and go back to that time, it wasn't the greatest time for the world. However, it was a very interesting time because to be on television while everyone's stuck at home with the pandemic going on just kind of created this, I don't know, it was a good moment for people who are on TV because everyone was like just watching you, and there's this revival of Survivor because people were digging into, all the streaming platforms, and you could watch Survivor season 1 to season 40. So it was a really fun time, even though the world was going through chaos. And since then, I've tried to capitalize on that moment, and I've done a lot of work, within the public speaking world, the cancer world, the Jewish world, the cereal eating world. It's been a pretty fun 5 years for me.
And we'll get to all of that in a moment. But first, we got to talk. It's the 25th anniversary of Survivor. Quarter of a century ago, CBS began airing Survivor USA. So as a 3-time player, including winning Survivor Africa, participating in Survivor All-Stars, and of course, Winners at War, what are the factors that make Survivor a mainstay on reality television?
Well, since day one, I think CBS, Jeff, all the producers do an incredible job of telling stories. And that's why Survivor is so great and so popular. In addition to like the gameplay and the challenges and the advantages and all that survival stuff, bottom line is it's a game where you're getting everyday Americans and Canadians now to come create a new community and society, create their own rules to try to win like this $1 million, right? So I just think the concept and the model and the format is just so easy, and it's an incredible platform to add new things and take new things away. And I just think Jeff does a really good job at keeping it fresh and keeping it new and keeping it exciting. People know me. I'm an old school Survivor player. I like the old school game. I'm a diehard old school guy. However, the game isn't better or worse. It's just different, right? And obviously, if you're a fan of the show, you've seen how it's changed over the years. And season 48, which is going on right now, I think it's pretty exciting. I think they're doing an incredible job. There's new challenges, there's new twists, there's new advantages, disadvantages. The casting's incredible. And so I just think they do a really good job of telling stories. And I think the general audience can find themselves in these characters that you see out there on the island, and you can relate to them and you can put yourself in their position. So I think it's just fun for everyone to watch.
Absolutely, absolutely. So eight seasons in the brand new era, and and a little bit of a shorter time span now, if I remember correctly. It's not the same 39 days that we all know and grew up with. So besides that, who do you think are the standouts from this era in your humble opinion? Who are the standout cast members that help define this era of Survivor, and why?
Well, I think what's interesting about pretty much every character that you see out there, they are a student of the game, which means pretty much everyone on the show these days, they're in their 20s and 30s. They've almost been around and been alive for the same amount of time that Survivor's been on TV, which means they have so many different seasons and players to study and learn from and kind of create their own path forward, which makes the game that much more difficult from a strategic point of view. Like survival's never going to go away. Everyone's going to be starving. Everyone's going to be, thirsty. They're going to be tired. They're going to be, cold. That's never going to change. But the game and the strategies and the ways people can break the game and try to get forward faster in the game is what's changing. And that's just so exciting. So I think the good players these days, you just need to be able to be uncomfortable for a long amount of time. I think the people that know themselves the best, they know how other people respond to them and how what skills they bring to the table. Because the better you know who you are and the better you know how other people respond to you, the better you can be to make smart alliances with people who may or may not have the same or different characteristics as yourself. So I think those are the players that are the best. The one that knows who to work with, how to adapt their game, and how to make short-term alliances. Because these long-term loyal alliances, I don't see that working so much anymore.
Absolutely. And the thing is, the shorter the turnaround, the shorter the chances of turning around on each other. Like, I think the thing is, also as someone that has watched it from afar and like listened to Scott Yeager and of course our friend Rob Cisternino do recaps of that, it feels like this game is like more about, okay, you need to, I know that you said in our original conversation back in 2020, you said that it was more of a Quicksilver speed, but now I feel like it's gone from Quicksilver to 10 times. You need to run the marathon. You're like running the New York City Marathon every episode.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, just from my experience on season 40, the game had picked up in terms of the speed at which things were happening and information was passed. And I think it's even gone a little bit faster than that in today's game. And yeah, I think the 26-day condensed format forces you as a player to just go 100% all the time. You see some of the players that sat back this current season 48, they got eliminated early. The people who are trying to not be a leader and not, take advantage of some of these, opportunities within the game to take a risk versus a reward. I think you're seeing more of that. People are coming to play and play fast and play hard. They want to build a resume. But what's interesting is that it's a really thin line between playing too hard and not playing at all. Winning too many challenges, not winning any challenge at all. Being too loud and the game's always been that way, but I feel like now it's magnified a little bit more, where in some cases the best way to play is to not play at all and just be a little bit more reactive and watch other people mess up and pick up on their mistakes and kind of use that as your advantage to get forward.
Absolutely, absolutely. So most recently, Jeff made headlines for declaring Survivor 50 a season which the fans will determine the elements of the game. So, as a former player and an iconic former player as that, what are you excited to see what the fans are vote on?
Yeah, I'm so excited. Once again, I think they came up with a really clever way to keep the fans engaged in the show. I've always thought that Survivor would be a really fun kind of live event, like a spectator event. I don't know how you do that production wise, but I always felt like if you could combine Hunger Games with Survivor and let the fans have a real piece of the action, I think that would be really exciting. There's a game out there now called Extraction. I don't know if you've watched Extraction. It's a similar, there's family members at a home base, and then there's people out there playing
Oh
Survivor,
yeah, I've
and
heard
the
of.
family. Yeah, and it's kind of neat because the family members can basically send them stuff and win challenges. They can also extract them from the game when they feel they need to. But like that idea of giving the fans a piece of the game is really exciting. Now, I think some of the choices the fans get to make on season 50, they're not really going to impact the game that much. Tribe colors. I mean, maybe, the fire making challenge, you get to choose on that. I would like to see some real exciting stuff like let's bring the game back to 39 days. Who wants to vote on that? I know that would never
I
happen
think that
production
would. I
wise.
think everyone would be. I would vote for that. I would vote for that because the thing is, I want to see how the new school era handles 39 days.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I want to see how the new school era. Imagine if you stripped the game down to some of its core principles, like from old school. See how the new schoolers would be able to deal with like a more boring, mundane game where they actually have to work on their social skills even that much more because people don't remember there's a lot of downtime on Survivor.
Oh yeah.
Obviously you see as an audience people hunting for idols and going to the challenges and going to tribal, but like there's hours and hours between those moments. And so I think dealing with the mundane boringness of Survivor is it messes with your mind a little bit. But in terms of I don't know what's coming for what the fans get to choose and what they don't get to choose, but I would like to see some really impactful choices that we can make, even down to like what characters they want to see out there. How fun would that be? They tried that years ago, but maybe it'd be a way to somehow let the fans pick who they want to see out there.
Believe me, I would be happy to see you out there again. And also, I would also love to see a live final tribal council because and reunion, because the thing is, I miss that. I miss it when you receive the news live because it was human moment when your name, of course, when Jeff revealed that you won, and when Vesepia won, and when of course Robin proposes to Amber and that whole car, everything for when Rupert won the America's vote and Cheyenne won that car.
Yeah, you're stuck in the early 2000s, dude.
I know. I was just trying to figure out because I remember that was great TV.
Yeah, it was great TV. Well, I'm torn. That is one of the choices. I'm torn because I do think it's important to get immediate feedback from the cast out there on the island in Fiji after it happens. I think that's interesting. It's exciting to get the real time information when they announce the winner, and then Jeff gets to talk to him right then. I also feel that seeing them 6 to 8 months later, after they've watched themselves on TV and seen how the world has responded to them, I think that's an interesting conversation to have as well. So I think I would love to see both. I'd love to see Jeff talk to them for 15, 20, 30 minutes out there on the island, film it. Don't announce the winner. I don't know if that's even possible. And then talk to them again in whatever, the soundstage in Los Angeles and see if things change a little bit.
And maybe fill with like 500, 750 of Survivor's most loyal fans and alumni.
I think that would be great. Maybe for 50, they should handpick the super fans that weren't able to get on the show and put them in the audience.
Oh, that would be fun. That would be fun. And speaking of icons, we've seen over the past few years, we've seen Suri, Parvati, Tony, Boston Rob, Jeremy, and Carolyn all compete on other shows such as The Traders and Deal or No Deal Island to success. They either won like Suri, have become fan favorites, or been polarized. So have you thought about if Traders and Alan Cumming gives you a call, or if Joe comes and gives you a call for Yoda Nealon, have you thought about going into and expanding the Survivor unit, going into that multiverse?
Yeah, and don't forget about the Challenge USA, with
Oh yeah.
Tyson and Sarah and some other folks in there, and then the Challenge MTV. You got Michelle and all those characters. You got
And
Big
my boy
Brother with Suri.
Jay.
Yes, right. And then you got Big Brother. Suri was on Big Brother and
Paul.
Snake
Yeah.
in the Grass, all that stuff. So duh, like, of course, I would love the chance to play any game. I am a gamer. I love to put things on the line and test my mental capabilities. So anyone that comes calling, I think I'd entertain going out there. Deal or No Deal Island. I mean, I don't know if you recently saw it. Spoiler alert here if you haven't seen the finale, block your ears right now. But I mean, the way that went down at the end was incredible, and I'd love the opportunity to go out there and do that. And same with Traders. I think on Traders, I'd be fantastic. First of all, I have an incredible wardrobe. I would win the wardrobe game on Traders if
Oh,
there's
yes,
even
you
a
would.
word for that. And yeah, I think I'd be a really good faithful. I think. The way I play Survivor, the way I did Amazing Race, Fear Factor, all those good. I'm a really good assistant coach. I'm observant, I'm friendly, I'm compassionate, empathetic. So I think I'd be a really good kind of a trader. I mean, a faithful in the way that like Pilot Pete played and uh,
And
Zac
Dylan
Efron's
played.
brother, whatever Zac Efron's
Dylan.
brother, Dylan Efron. So like that style, I think that's my game, right? And I think I
Oh
do
yeah,
well.
and I would actually love to see you meet up with some people that from my other favorite reality shows, like my friend Beth Solaric, Jesse, Mr. Spectacular Godders, Frankie Grande,
Oh
and
man.
those are, and then Cara Maria Cervello. So those four, I definitely see how you go
And
vibe with
here's
that.
the thing, like, I can't speak for everyone who's been out there on Traders. But like I watch all those shows. I'm not afraid to admit it, but mostly because my wife is watching all the Bravo shows. So like I'm watching like Below Deck and Summer House and all the Real Housewives. So like I know these people like Vanderpump Rules. So like when I saw Boston Rob out there, I'm like, he doesn't know anyone out there. He doesn't watch any of these shows. I'm like, I watch all those shows. Like I would know exactly who I want to be with, who I wanted to align with, who I thought was like shady or whatnot going into it. So I think I do really well out there.
I think you would as well. And hey, casting, let Ethan on for both Deal or No Deal Island or Traders or Extraction.
There you go. Send this
And if
over.
the Challenge USA gets revived, and if you have a Legends battle with the Challenge Legends, the champs like Jonathan Potassium or Wes and Cara
Right.
Maria and Beth versus the Legends of reality TV like Ethan and Parvati and Janelle.
Oh, man.
Oh yeah.
Legendary, right? That would be incredible.
All righty. So since our last conversation, you invented the CrunchBowl to make cereal better. So how did you get the idea for the CrunchBowl?
Jacob, are you sick and tired of soggy cereal? Well, I'm
I
going to
am.
revolutionize the cereal eating experience in one big scoop. I'm going to put the crunch back in brunch. So you see the cereal bowl right here. The cereal bowl's got a shallow end and a deep end. You keep your cereal up top, put your milk down below, and you want a little crunch, you just tap it right over the edge. So we have the cereal slide, the milk chute. It's lefty, it's righty. It's got a spoon rest. It's got the crunch wall. This is the ultimate snacking tool. And it's not only good for cereal, it's good for chips, dips, salad dressing, ice cream, apple pie, hummus, and pita, whatever you want. This is the Super Bowl and will change your life forever. So anyway, yeah,
I
this is
got
the Crunch Bowl. I actually thought of the Crunch Bowl when I was in college,
real.
1995. Yeah. And I had an up and down relationship with the Crunch Bowl. As the story goes, I just won Survivor in 2002. My first interview was with David Letterman, and so David Letterman, they ask you like one or two questions. The only question he asked me is like, "So, I hear you're an inventor. What have you invented?" Like I hadn't invented anything because I just out of college. So like I'm like, I have a Crunch Bowl, and then the crowd went wild. I'm like, oh, okay, well maybe this is a good idea. And then it took me about 21 years to actually bring it to market.
I'm just so proud of you for that, Ethan. It's just amazing how you would get like a shell shock. Oh, and Cubs and Green too. As you get a shell shocked from an answer from the one of the greatest talk show hosts of all time, Mr. David Letterman, and you turn that into a journey that you have not stopped going. And that's what I love about you and how much you have persevered.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. The bowl, yeah, the bowl is the ultimate survivor. This is the ultimate survivor bowl. It's been around for 30
Absolutely.
years, just no one knows about it.
Believe me, Ethan, I think another show I want to add, Shark Tank.
Shark Tank, of course. Yes, I love a good Shark Tank.
Yeah, especially you can see the cereal bowl, and I would love to see you send it. Too bad one of my favorite sharks is going to be leaving, Mark.
Oh, yeah. Too bad.
Yeah, I'm like,
It's
seriously,
time
why
though.
don't
He's been around too long.
yeah,
Actually,
Mark Cuban.
yeah, Mark Cuban. I think I like when they switch up the sharks.
I do too. I do too. Um, Guys, this is going to turn into a little more of a serious portion of our conversation. So, sadly, unfortunately, since our last conversation, we witnessed the deadliest attack against the Jewish people since the Holocaust on October 7th, 2023. This has led to the shocking rise of anti-Jewish hatred in person and online. As one of the biggest advocates, I applaud you for all your work that you have done since then and will all continue to do. But what have been some of the strategies you have used to have the conversations to stop anti-Semitism and anti-Jew and hatred in their tracks?
Yeah. Tough question to answer in just a little bit of time. However, I don't know if people remember, but I on Survivor Africa, I actually had an instance where my religion, being Jewish, came into question. So I aligned with this guy, Big Tom Buchanan. He was from Saltville, Virginia, and Tom had never met a Jewish guy before, and I'd never met anyone who's never met a Jewish guy before. And so, Tom and I, I had a Maccabee USA T-shirt as one of the 2 T-shirts I was allowed to bring. And then there's this one challenge where I won a plate of food, and the plate of food had ham on it. And so Tom was my partner in that challenge. We pooled our money together. We're going to win this mystery plate of food, and we're starving out there. And I see this big fat piece of ham, and Tom's like, "He's a Jew. He's a Jew. He won't eat the ham. He won't eat the ham." And what was interesting is like I was actually criticized for laughing about the fact that I was a Jew, and Tom was criticized for calling me a Jew, like basically calling me out for being an other. However, I looked at that opportunity, that situation in a completely different way. I could have gotten pissed off and tried to vote Tom off because he was just treating me differently because I was Jewish, calling me out for the foods I eat. Or I could do the opposite, where I actually wanted to try to get to know him better. Because there's a quote by Abraham Lincoln, and he said, "I do not like that man. Therefore, I must get to know him better." Because once you take the time to get to know someone better, you get an understand. It's a bridge to understanding. It's a bridge to empathy. It gives you a better understanding of where this person came from, why they may be feeling a certain way at a certain time. And while that's like, so when I engage in a particular situation with someone who may not like me because of being Jewish, I'll try to engage in a conversation with them. I'll try to get to know them a little bit better. I'll try to educate them about the foods we eat, the holidays we celebrate, the rules of our culture. And in return, I want to learn a little bit more about them. And I want to know about their foods and holidays and why they may be coming at Jews in a certain way or me coming at them in a certain way. And once you have those conversations, I think it just makes it a little bit easier. Obviously, this is incredibly easier said than done. October 7th was a horrible situation. I think the world ganged up a little bit on the Jews in Israel. And there's a lot of misinformation going on out there. So it's been a pretty difficult situation to navigate. I'm a Zionist. I'm pro-Israel. I'm pro-Jewish. However, there are some parts of the Israeli government that I don't agree with. And I don't necessarily believe that some of their strategies is the right path forward to create peace. So it's a difficult situation for Jews in the world. You can be straddled on both sides. However, I just think it's important to have meaningful conversations, stop kind of understand the sources of information and where they're coming from, engage in real conversations with people who might have different opinions than you. And that's kind of where I would go with that.
I think that's a wonderful answer, and definitely I agree everything that you said. And what bothers me and what annoys me is that some of our Jewish reality TV personalities or have ties have had the opportunity, have not spoke out. And it's tough to reconcile with that. And it's also it's tough. It's tough to say that. I'm like so tempted to call people out or cause scenes, but then at the same time, do I really want to have a scarlet letter on me?
Yeah, it's a difficult situation. I do feel that while, social media is great and being public about your feelings is great, I don't think it's the only way. There are plenty of Jews, whether you're famous or not famous, that are doing their part in whatever way they may feel most comfortable. And so, yes, it would be wonderful if these giant A-list celebrities and athletes all came out and being promoted, being proud of being Jewish and proud of who they are and promoting, anti-Semitism. You got to give them a little bit of leeway too, because they got stuff going on in their life where it may not be the right situation for them, and they may be working behind the scenes, and we just don't know that. So I hear you on that. However, I just think it's okay to kind of just, let people manage the situation in the way that's best for them. So that's kind of, something to think through. But it's a horrible situation. I don't see it getting any, better right now, which is unfortunate. I still play for the U.S. Men's National Maccabee team, the over 45 Maccabee team. We're supposed to go to Israel this summer to play in the Maccabee Games. So it's still a huge part of my life. And I think if you are Jewish, being just leaning into the Jewish community is just so much more important now than it ever was. And if you're feeling kind of uncertain about your place in the world or fearful of your safety, I would definitely kind of find other people in the Jewish community that you can talk to and be around and lean on in times of crisis.
Absolutely, absolutely. And guys, if you have had those crises, please dial 988 please, because it's important no matter what. And also, I want to give a shout out to my friends over at Jewish Federation of Greater Kansas City and UJA Federation of New York. You guys have done phenomenal. I am in awe of their incredible work. And also my friends over at JCRB, AJCKC as well. I'm proud to have gone to their programs. I'm proud to have been able to be active and also to donate to them when I'm able to. So I want to applaud their staff and their volunteers.
Yes, thank you.
You're so welcome. All righty, we need to talk about, besides playing in Maccabi, you're also playing in grassroots soccer's Changemaker Cup in London, England. So why did this was the year to compete in addition to Maccabi, but also to compete in the Changemaker Cup?
Well, so for those who don't know, Grassroots Soccer is a adolescent health organization that I helped co-found back in 2002 with the money that I won from Survivor. We started in HIV and AIDS. However, over the past 22 years, we've evolved into a more holistic approach to adolescent health, meaning we do mental health, female reproductive health, gender norms, malaria in some area, financial literacy, HIV and AIDS. So we are a holistic approach to adolescent health. So to be honest, what's going on in the world right now, we talked about a heavy subject with anti-Semitism. I'm just going to talk about another heavy subject here. There's been major policy changes and funding cuts to international aid organizations. Those are the organizations that actually fund the work that Grassroots Soccer does. Something called USAID, PEPFAR, Peace Corps, all those have been cut due to the current political situation, which means that Grassroots Soccer's lost funding, and the organizations we partner with, they've also lost funding. So, 22 million people get their HIV and AIDS medicines through PEPFAR and USAID, and because that's no longer there, they're not going to get their medicine. So it's a really sketchy situation overseas. People are going to die. HIV and AIDS is going to skyrocket, and organizations like Grassroots Soccer are left kind of questioning and wondering, the status of if they're even going to be able to stay open any longer. So this is a real serious situation. So going back to Grassroots Soccer, every year we host a Changemaker Cup which is a corporate soccer tournament. We rent out an English Premier League stadium every year. So we've done Stamford Bridge, Chelsea, we've done Arsenal, we've done QPR, and this year we're going to Wimbledon, AFC Wimbledon on May 27th. And so, yeah, I'm going to be dusting off the old soccer boots, putting on the goalie gloves, and I'm going to be hopping on the team grassroots soccer. But it's an incredible event. Hopefully we're going to raise $200,000-$300,000 for the work that we're doing all over the world.
And I am so excited for you, my friend. And what are you looking forward to the most about competing this year?
Back in the day, grassroots soccer, we actually won this tournament. However, other teams are in tune with our recruiting strategies, so it's become a lot more difficult to win. So, I'm hard in recruiting. If anyone out there is a star player, wants to play for Team Grassroots Soccer, or wants to enter a team into the tournament, let me know. We still have, I think, 3 or 4 teams open. It's over in England, May 27th. I'm just excited about playing and seeing everyone, and it's a beautiful day.
It's going to be a beautiful day with you guys, and I'll be rooting for you guys, and I'm going to be rooting for you with Maccabi as well. So
thank you so
much.
Also,
we cannot wind down our conversation without talking about, as you know, April is this month, and it's Passover time. So I would love to learn about some of your favorite Passover traditions.
Well, just people know, it was being Jewish is the whole reason I won Survivor, right? I mean, if you think about the game itself, right? Fasting wasn't really an issue. I do the ones you were eating anyway. Eating nasty foods isn't a problem. Gefilte fish, jelly, borscht, and I'd already endured the most grueling test of strength and perseverance known to humankind. Hebrew school. So I was just ready to win Survivor. Yes. So we are survivors just by making it through Hebrew school. So I was ready for Survivor when it came on. But if you think about it, Passover, like the Afikomen, I mean, I'm the Afikomen hunting king. That is what it's like looking for idols out there on Survivor, right? So, like, if you want to know how to, find an Afikomen, you come to me. That's like my skill set. So I'm excited about. I still say the 4 questions. I still hunt for the Afikomen, and so I'm really excited for Passover.
I'm excited for Passover too. My mom makes an amazing dessert. It's so rich. It's this chocolate flowers torte. It is so phenomenal. That is so rich that you can only eat it once a year.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know. I love watching online. There's all these, because it's Passover time, there's all these like people, chefs and Jewish influencers and coming out with all these crazy matzah recipes. So it's really fun to watch.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Ethan. All righty, Ethan. So our last question. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Uh-oh. I'm nervous.
Actually, second last question. I'm so sorry. I forgot. Because the thing is, because we got to talk about if fans want to get ready to compete on 51 or 52 or Survivor, what advice would you have for them to film their videos?
Jeff is pretty clear about, what he wants to see in a contestant and an application video. If you listen to Jeff's podcast, On Fire with Jeff podcast, he always gets into casting a little bit. So if you're interested in getting on the show, I highly suggest listening to his podcast. But he's like, be yourself, don't be someone you think the casting people want you to be. Because once you take away food, you take away water, and you're tired, you're hungry, you're thirsty, your true colors come into focus. Right. And all that's left is who you are on the inside. And that's who Jeff wants to see out there. So, I said it before, the people that know themselves the best are the ones that make the best characters. And since Survivor is a storytelling show, and everyone actually who is on the show currently has a story to tell, the best people are the ones that have the ability to narrate a story and make the audience feel something. Like the best narrators or the best are the ones you gravitate towards. I mean, look at this season. Carolyn, right, is a great example of a good storyteller. Rick Devens was a great storyteller. It's the people who can narrate the current situation out there have an opinion, make you feel something, and like that's who you want to see on the screen all the time, right? So if you're about to go out there, make sure that you can tell a story, beginning, middle, and end with some energy and excitement, laughter, crying. You can talk to the camera without stopping, and just make other people have an emotion about what you're having to say, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. It doesn't matter. Just make them feel something. I mean, you look at what's happening now. Look at current season 48, Joe and Eva, right? I mean, Eva has come out to say she's on the spectrum. I have a nephew who's on the spectrum. To see her out there is absolutely incredible. To see the way Joe responds to that, and then Jeff Probst crying. That's what Survivor wants. That's what Jeff is aiming for. It's not just a competition reality show now. He wants everyone to play the game and have a transformational experience out of a human being out there as well.
That's perfect. And okay, the last question. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Where can my audience find the CrunchBowl? Number 2, where can my audience, if they're in London, go see you compete? And also, if they're in Israel, where can they go see you compete with Maccabi? And finally, and most importantly, where can they connect with you on social media?
Wow. I don't know if I'm going to remember all these, but yeah, I'm pretty accessible on social media, as you can imagine. I'm pretty much an Instagram guy. At Ethan Zohn on Instagram is a good place to find me. The CrunchBowl, mycrunchbowl.com. You can find them there. The games in England are on May 27th at AFC Wimbledon. And then Maccabee games are in Tel Aviv in July. So, but also, yeah, my website, I think it's a really good place to find me, ethanzohn.com. You can get all my Survivor merch. We still got it up there. So it's a little old school, but hey, if you're looking for some good Passover presents, pick up a t-shirt. Pick up a t-shirt for someone.
Absolutely. And guys, how have you missed an episode of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast? Visit our channels on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Spreaker. Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Now, are you on social media? I'm on social media too. Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Twitter, and YouTube. Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. And also, if you want to see more of my interviews with Ethan and my interview with Ralph Cesternino and all these reality TV greats, head to jakes-shake.com. Jakes-shake.com. Ethan, it was such a delight to catch up with you, my friend. I am so honored. You're still one of my all-time favorite players and also one of my Jewish role model heroes.
Oh, that's so nice to hear. Thank you so much for having me. And I look forward to talking to you in another 5 years.
Let's not wait that long. All righty, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, everybody, have a great one. Goodbye.